Hey guys, and welcome to another video. My name is Kenny. I'm one of the admins here at Trade Tips. Today we're going to be talking about different order types, including the market, limit, and stop orders, and how this is going to pertain to our charting and our trades. So on this chart, we're looking here at BIDU. We're seeing a hammer candle build out of the 200 EMA, followed by a slight rejection into a higher low. And in this trade, what I would be looking for is to see if we can hold this higher low and see if we can continue on to do the gap fill. Otherwise, my stop loss is going to be underneath, saying that, hey, if we go underneath 203, this is going to be my stop, because it invalidates the idea that we're going to go for for the higher low. Okay, so if we go here, I'm going to just color this red just so you guys can see that this is going to be our stop loss order. And again, we're going to be looking to see if we can get that gap fill. What that does for us is that if we enter in here and we bring this down to where the stop limit is. By the way, this is going to be our long position tool in case anyone was wondering. And if we go ahead and adjust here, we can actually see what our risk to reward is. And in this case, it's about 7.5. So we can, we're looking to gain about 7.5 times what we're willing to risk. So if we're putting in $100, we're willing to make probably $500 to $700 versus probably losing that whole $100 for this trade. So looking into this chart, let's go ahead and just kind of fast forward a little bit just to kind of see where we go ahead and go into our position. Looks like for here, this would be my first ad, or the open of the trade. We know most of you guys use the Robinhood platform. This is going to be an opportunity for show you guys how we use the Tastyworks platform in order to do our trades. Now there are caveats to both. One with Tastyworks being that it's not completely free. It costs I think about $1 to enter the trade, and it's cost free to go out. Otherwise, where Robinhood is completely free no matter if you buy and sell. But we do want to show you a little bit of how powerful this platform can be. Let's go ahead and do a hypothetical entrance into BIDU where we look into the May 21st contract, scroll down, and I'm going to be looking for a contract with good volume in it. In this case, there's 8,500 people, or 8,500 contracts were bought at the 220 level. So I'm going to go ahead and click this to buy. And we have the different order types here. So if I click on market, what that's going to do is I'm going to pay the higher price, which is the 196. But the good side is I get to automatically be in the trade. I'll pay more money, but I'm automatically going to be in a trade. So if you ever have a trade that's kind of running wild on you and you can't enter because you can't enter in the right price, well, a market order would be the case for that. The only problem with market orders is, again, you're not getting the best bang for your buck. So if anything, if you do have the chance to, try to see if you can have a limit order. And what a limit order does is it only enters in at the price that you want. So if you want at 192, it might be a harder fill in this case scenario, but if you do, you obviously have a better entry in your position. So market just gets you in right away. You're going to be paying a higher price, but you'll be in right away. And for the limit order, you'll be paying, you could potentially be paying a lesser price, but without the safety knowing that you're actually going to be inside of the trade. So let's go ahead and pretend like that we entered here at 195. And so we look back at the chart and we have our entry here at 195. If we go ahead and fast forward, we do have that drop that happened here, where in which case I would probably say, okay, this is our last shot. Let's go ahead and add. And what that adding does is it brings our average down to probably from that 195 to maybe we'll be paying about 120 after the add. And so let's go ahead and see how this trade goes. And it looks like as of today, we ended up getting our stop loss triggered. It looks like we crossed through the 203 mark, which I said would be our validation or invalidation point, and where I would say that this is no longer a higher low kind of a trade, and so this trade goes off the table. So let's say you wanted to kind of automate that, where we bought here at we bought here, let's say where our average is at 120. If you want to say, hey, at 90, we want to get out. It's really hard to tell where in the options world exactly what the contract price will be. But if you have an estimated idea of like how much you're willing to lose, then I guess this is I don't recommend this, but this is an option for you. You can set up what's called a stop market order. What that does is that if you, as soon as it hits 0.90 and I go ahead and click send, it's going to go ahead and get out of the trade at no matter whatever price it costs, no matter what, just for the sake of you getting out. Now, the problem with stop market orders is that in cases of high volatility, the bid-ask spread can be huge. It could be like $80, $100, even in big names, could be $200 or $300. And if for some reason you had a stop market order and you're only trying to, say I want to lose 100 only, and volatility makes it so that this bid-ask spread makes it so you're paying, you're overselling for $70 or $80 more than usual, then maybe a stop market order would be counterintuitive, especially in moments of high volatility. And in which case you would just use a stop limit order. And what that does is that one triggers the next. So for you to make sure that you don't accidentally oversell, if you want to say that 0.90 is your stop, what that does is it acts as a trigger. So as soon as price hits 0.90, it's going to go ahead and send the other order in. And in which case I'd probably say, with good amount of spread, probably about 0.8 or 0.5, it's going to get you the best price possible, but without trying to overpay for it. So sometimes if the market makers see that you have a stop market order, they can go ahead and fill you in at the lowest price possible. And then and when you look back at it, you're like, the price hasn't even really moved, but I could have saved myself $50 or $60 per contract on that trade. And that's because when you do stop market, you're just at the whim of whatever the market makers are up to. And they can see your guys' orders, so it's important that sometimes we probably use a stop limit order, but in my opinion, the best way to kind of do things is if you just set it up on your chart and say, hey, this is my stop loss, and you go ahead and create an alert, because at that point too, sometimes you getting stopped out could have meant this like hitting your order real quick and then bouncing up, in which that's not what you intended to happen. Like if you were watching there for 1 or 2 minutes, you could have determined whether or not it was going to continue down or if it was actually going to bounce. And so that's why I think, if possible, the best thing to do is set up an alert to make sure that it's not just trying to fish for your order so it can get the best fill that it can, so people can get the lowest price they can get while leaving you in the dust and leaving you to unnecessarily lose money. But if you're, for example, not looking at the chart, then I can understand where that would work. Again, in Robinhood, you're actually not able to set up any of these stop market or stop limit orders, which kind of shows that that although that platform is great for saving money as far as trades go, what I also found is that the bid-ask spreads are not also all the same. I feel like the bid-ask spreads are a little bit wider, and although I can get my fill in, let's say at 195 in the middle of the bid-ask spread, if I were on Robinhood, I wouldn't be able to get that. And typically I would find myself having to keep lowering and lowering the price just to try to get my fill in. And after that, with that being said, I probably lose maybe 10 or 20 or even $30 just because I can't get a fill in. And so is that $1 or $2 extra dollars of trading commissions really going to hurt you in the long run? No, it's not. No, of course not, because if you're getting the better fills and you're getting your exits, I've gotten exits where on Robinhood I would have probably missed out $100 or $200 just because I can't exit out of that trade. And so with that being said, let's bring this chart back, and we want to just remind you guys that what we're looking for is high risk to reward opportunities. Like in this area, if we're willing to enter in about 2 to 3 contracts, and if we get stopped out, we're losing $100. But if we are right on the gap fill, and we make $300 to $400, and that's kind of where we're creating that off balance opportunity where, like a casino, they don't win every single time, but for the most part, when they do, they're growing and growing and growing. And right, so we want to look for these opportunities where risk to reward is in our favor, to capitalize those and respect our stop losses when they happen. With that being said, this is if you guys have any questions, go ahead and let us know in the comments below. Tell us if you guys have any specific content you guys want to go over. We got a lot of questions asking about the how to set up stop losses, and the quick answer to that is it's most likely your platform. If you don't see it on your platform, you might most likely don't have it. I'm not sure if Webull has it, for example, but I know that on Thinkorswim, there are videos on where you can set up stop losses on Thinkorswim. And if you're on Tastyworks, it's a super easy process to set up those stop limit orders in case you want to make sure you have a hard stop for how much you're willing to risk. With that being said, guys, have a great one. We'll see you in the next video.